Welcome back to the show, everybody. I got a question for you. Not you, Travis. I'll get to you in just a minute, okay? Don't look so antsy over there like I'm ignoring you and talking to you all night already, okay? But I got a question for these awesome listeners in our audience here. And the question goes like this: if you could choose one world of the four I'm about to list you live in, which would you go with? We're going to give you the opportunity to choose between the Star Wars universe, the Star Trek universe, the Lord of the Rings, and Harry Potter. Now, to explain to you real quick, the latter of the four, the last two, Harry Potter and Lord of the Rings. Although the movies came out pretty much later past our timeline for the most part, the
On Harry
books.
Potter.
Both on both actually.
Both, yeah.
The actual books were out well beforehand. And as far as the Lord of the Rings go, The Hobbit, as Travis pointed out, was that when, Travis?
That was 1977.
1977.
The TV movie came out.
TV movie cartoon of The Hobbit, for those of you who remember watching that. I believe was it just The Hobbit, or was it The Hobbit and Lord of the Rings?
They did a Lord of the Rings. They did. I believe the Lord of the Rings was actually a little short run TV show, like made for TV movie thing that went over a couple of nights.
Okay. I can't remember for sure. I never really watched it when I was younger, so I can't say. But this is what we're going to do in this show today. It's going to be a fun thing to talk about there, to kick around and talk about a little bit. But if you could choose one of those places, which would you choose and why do you choose it? So what we're going to do is we're going to cover all four of them. Travis and I are going to talk and discuss all four universes a little bit, just to bring some things obviously to your attention so you can have something to think on. And then at the end of the show, we'll tell you which one of the four each of us picked.
Yes. And the Harry Potter books were written in the 90s, so that falls into.
Yeah, or at least they started in the 90s,
They
right?
started in the 90s, yeah.
Yeah, so as long as the world was there, started in the 90s,
right,
we should be good. Of course, authors of the books, J.R.R. Tolkien for The Hobbit and Lord of the Rings.
Mm-hmm.
And
J.K. Rowling.
J.K. Rowling
Harry Potter.
Harry Potter.
There will be no wand waving or incantations in this class.
Come on.
That's right.
Is there a spell for something you use to tell the person to be quiet? You know, like, shut up with your mouth.
I like it.
I don't know. I mean,
that is a forbidden spell, Mr. Potter.
But it's not one of the unforgivable curses, though.
No.
So I'm still safe.
Yeah.
So we're
like
going to
jump. Cadavra.
Exactly. You're killing it, man. You're killing it.
I think all fresh in my mind right now.
I know. Which is why I think we're going to start on that one. Why
sure,
not?
Let's go.
We start on that one. Harry Potter, J.K. Rowling.
Mm-hmm.
However you want to say her name. You can Rowling, or you can be Rowling.
Either way.
Either way it goes. She created this place, this universe that is so outstanding in a lot of people's minds. And it's a world of magic around you that some people are oblivious to.
Muggles.
And don't know exist. They're referred to as muggles, yes. The muggle world.
Or if you got into Strange Beasts and Where to Find Them, they're no-mages. That's in America.
Yeah, right. Exactly. And that's what we would be considered because we're not magical beings.
Right.
But
how do you know? I keep secrets good.
Hey, look, check out
Depends
my
on who
picture.
you ask.
Look at, no. Check out my picture up here. All right.
Yeah.
I got my lightsaber. I got my wand. And I got my one ring to rule them all.
But you're missing your phaser and ready to go. You're missing your phaser and your comm, though.
Yeah, I can't get everything, man. I'll have to get one. I'll have to get one made for me or something, you know.
Yeah, I don't know if they're doing all the importing at the borders yet.
We don't know. I blame COVID.
We're going to blame COVID for that one.
Yeah, we're blame COVID.
So, yeah, the Wizarding World, we've got, dude, there's so much in there. We not only have you got all this cool powers and spells and sorcery and all, you've got magical creatures too, which I just touched on about, Strange Beasts and Where to Find Them. Think about all the animals that, and most of us are going to picture the stuff we saw in the movies, which tons and tons and tons of people read the books too. It was like a literature renaissance in our time. You
The
know, when the
books were
books
so
came
much
out.
better. They were so much better than the movies, much more
Yeah,
descriptive. If you had time to sit down and read them, of course, after you get past the third, well, no, starting with the third book, they
hmm
started reaching around 1,000 pages to 1,100 pages. Some people
yeah,
saw that and said, "Well, it's not like the 600-page first book they had, or it might not have been 600. It was a smaller book. The first two were."
right, of course,
But I mean, still, I mean, so many great places she's created for this world. We were just talking a while ago because she thought I said something different. They were talking about Hogsmeade Village,
right.
which is very close to the school there of
hmm
Hogwarts.
Just
Lots of
north,
places for the wizarding community to go to there because it's an all wizarding community with no muggles around anywhere, as
right?
opposed to being in other places where muggles are there, but they can't see your places because they're magically protected with
Right.
spells and cloaks and things
Or
of
you
that
have to
nature.
hide your magical abilities and all that. So,
Right, having to hide things, not doing things open in front of people for them to see what's going on.
hmm
It's one of the things not allowed that you can't do. Uh,
right,
so many different things you can be. You can be a part of the magical community of their government. We'll call it.
right.
You can be a part of that. You can be
You could
someone
work in
who
the Ministry of Magic.
right the Ministry of Magic. That's the government of the magic
hmm
of the wizarding world.
Right.
You could be an possibly, I don't know if you can be an employee at Green Got's Bank or not. There's mostly just goblins there, I
Yeah, so
believe.
say you might have to be a goblin to do
Yeah,
that.
you may have to. Yeah, you may have
Bring
to just
dots.
be something a little bit nasty and ugly looking for there.
Yeah.
You might be someone that creates wands like Ollivander, have your own shop. You could be
Yeah.
someone who runs, a candy store there.
You could be the professor of the dark arts, although history has shown that's probably not going to work out too great.
It's not the position you want at
It's not the
Hogwarts. It's
position you want to
never,
hog. No,
never, no. You're better
never
off
wants that
being an
position.
herbologist or the person who's over the
Yeah,
grounds or something.
true that.
Except for the big ugly spiders that come in sometimes, and you don't want to be the groundskeeper then either. Yeah, you can be a teacher at Hogwarts. Thank you for bringing Hogwarts up again.
Absolutely.
A teacher at Hogwarts, if you'd like. You could be an owner of one of the bars they have, the inns.
Or a famous Quidditch star.
Oh, I
Ooh,
forgot about the Quidditch game. Yes, you
you
could
could
be a
be a,
you could
yeah,
ride your broomstick in the air and
the
slap a
fame and
ball through a hoop.
fortune.
Slap a ball. It's like basketball and soccer mixed together.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
killed a man with the ball. And
with a little bit of rugby, possibly. I don't
yeah,
know. I mean, it's crazy.
yeah,
So, but
there's
so
that
so
kind
so
of
you
stuff.
get you got this place. I mean, if you choose to be in a magical world like that, remember you've got the use of magic. You are a person who is well versed in it. You know how to do all the spells, and we're not talking about like when you watch the movie how they got all the fighting going on and everything. There's so much more than just the things you see in the movies where they're fighting. You got the everyday
Yeah,
incantations they do. There's actually a book that they put out that J.K.R. Rowling. Uh, I'm thinking J.R.R. Tolkien.
right, right.
By the way, it's
You
my
gotta throw the
turn.
R in there. Look
It's
at there.
my
Look at
turn to mess
you.
things up. I'm the
Now
reason.
we're going.
I'm the
Uh,
reason this week why we can't have nice
you got
things.
the goofy by osmosis, like I got the looks by osmosis.
I know, man. All right, so like J.K. Rowling did, there's a book she put out that gives you the list of spells and incantations that there are, and that covers pretty much everything that they learned in school, plus around the house magic for chores and things, and
Right,
repairing and fixing things. This is crazy. If the world is so in depth.
right.
She's literally created a world in front of you that you could lose yourself into.
Yeah, it's masterful. You know, you must the way that you put the R on there. It's in the vein of what J.R.R. Tolkien did as well. You know, he created his own language for God's sake for the elves. You know,
Exactly.
and there was another C.S. Lewis, like C.S. Lewis did with the Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. They create these just huge, masterful worlds. And George Lucas, Star Wars, and
Right.
Gene Roddenberry with Star Trek. You know, everybody that we've got on here has created this humongous world. And some of them have had other people add on to them, like Star Wars and Star Trek. But
Right.
they laid that foundation and painted such a picture that it truly transports you to another place. They're amazing, amazing writers.
Right.
visionaries.
Absolutely. And just kind of transitioning there, what you did really well at that point, talking about going into Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, that's
Um,
that's
I mean,
I love it.
Middle Earth. The question is to a lot of people, what is Middle Earth? Is Middle Earth just a place on an imaginary Earth? It's like it's within the middle of the globe or something. Or is Middle Earth actually deep in the center of the
Right.
Earth, where there's its
Because they
own
never talk
world?
about upper Earth or lower Earth.
No, just Middle Earth. Like you're deep inside the Earth, and that's why you can't go drilling too far down there because you might make the little
Right.
fat hobbits mad or
Yeah,
something.
I remember when
Or
I was younger. That's the way I envisioned it. I thought Middle Earth was like inside of the Earth somehow.
right, there's a cave somewhere, and it will take you
Yeah,
down to Middle Earth.
right.
I think that's in
But
Kentucky. They call it Mammoth Cave. I'm not sure.
but we know too though that
But Travis, I mean, in Kentucky, you may not see, you may not get to Middle Earth by going in Mammoth Cave, but you'll find a couple of fat hobbits or two up there.
I guarantee it. You might do
Yes,
that at the Forbidden Caverns in Tennessee too.
I think I know a few of them.
Right.
That being said, I mean the world is so wide. I mean
It is.
you got the world of man there,
Mm-hmm.
and with some of the cities that they have, you've got
There's a lot too. You've got the
what were the names of the cities? Do you recall the name of the
you've got
city?
Arnor, you've got Erebor, the city of man, the white city just
Minas
escapes
Tirith,
me.
or
Minas Tirith was one. Isengard is the one I'm trying to think of. Isengard was one.
Isengard was the tower. That was the wizard's tower.
Isengard was where Sauron
Right,
was Saruman. It was where Saruman was at.
right.
So yeah, and Minas Tirith was the great big. Minas Tirith was the White City, I do believe.
Minas Tirith was either the White City or it was the landing place before you got to the White City.
Yeah. Then you had Rohan. Rohan was
Rohan.
that was a city of men. That was the horse lords.
Right.
And there was just a bunch of them just kind of spread out and in between smaller stuff,
Right. And then
like
of
the
course
inn
you
at
got
the Prancing Pony was actually they didn't even consider that to be in just outside of the Shire. They didn't really tell you where it was, but that was like a world of man type thing.
for some reason I think there was a name of a town or something that was in.
It may have been.
I tell
I
you
don't
what,
remember it though.
talk about Rivendell and the elves for a second.
Gondor.
I'm gonna
Gondor was the city of man. Gondor was
That's
the white
right.
city.
Gondor was the White City. Minas Tirith was the landing spot beforehand.
Right.
There you go. I'm gonna check out the Prancing Pony and see if you can. You talk about Rivendell for a second and the
Rivendell. So now we're moving to the elves. Yeah, you got Rivendell and Lothlorien and all that too. And that's just to go back to before I forget real quick. Talking about people wondering where Middle Earth is. So Middle Earth was J.R.R. Tolkien. He stated that was supposed to be his vision of Earth long ago. So it's our Earth in the past. And then according to the Silmarillion, which he also wrote, which gives you, we're talking about depth here. I mean, we're talking about depth. J.R. Tolkien goes all the way back to the Bible, like creation of everything. So he goes way, way back to where angels, what we would consider angels and demons coming to Earth, and this and that, and Margoth, and all these things that come through. Just like a huge history, and they call it ages, and that's kind of unspecified how long an age is. So
right.
It's
because they were talking about the first age, the second age, the third age.
Right. And this age is coming to an end and all that. So yes, it's the way in the way that Tolkien wanted it to be was it is our Earth, but it is in a distant past. So we would be like the fifth age or something.
Right. And that, just to fall back for a second, the Prancing Pony it's an inn located at Bree. There's a little place called Bree.
Yes, Bree.
I knew it had a name, so I couldn't recall what it was though.
Yeah. Rivendell was a place that is amazing, as the name would suggest, Rivendell. But there's all these waterfalls, and the towers are made of ivory and gold. And if you've seen the movies, it depicts it probably grander than anything that I had in my mind reading the books.
Yes.
Certainly, because I wouldn't have thought of it being so huge in the way that they look when it pans out and everything. something that Peter Jackson did real well with the movies. But but then you had Lothlorien. Lothlorien was where Lady Galadriel was, and she is a lot of people's favorite character, Legolas. She is his. I want to say she's his aunt somehow through the. It's been a while since I did the Silmarillion, but if you read the Silmarillion, it tells you how everybody's related and where all the bloodlines come from, and this and that. And Gandalf has been around for ages and ages. He's him and the other 6 wizards came from a different plane of existence or something. It's like it is wild. It's so deep. It's so deep. Did you find what you were looking for? Oh, you did. You
yeah,
told me
I told you.
the City of Bree.
City of Bree. And that was close to where you've got all the little fat hobbitses where they live and everything, you know. In the Shire. In the Shire.
In the Shire, yes. And the other cool thing about Lord of the Rings too is you've got wizarding and magic as you do in Harry Potter.
Right.
But it also feels like a much more dangerous place because then you've got orcs and goblins and spiders and Sauron trying to always Sauron's always trying to take over, and you've got, you know, humans and elves and this and that vying for power. And
doesn't it kind of feel like you got like a Camelot kind of feel to it in a sense, maybe when you see the world of man and they're fighting? Of course, in Camelot they didn't fight orcs or anything, but I mean, just the fact that you've got the armor wearing men who are, and of course from different kingdoms.
Sure, absolutely. It's totally got a medieval feel to it, 100%.
Yeah, it's got a little bit of a medieval feel with some magic involved in it as well. And of course, you mentioned Rivendell and everything. We were talking, like I said, back to the Shire. The Shire is a place that's drawn out to look like it's just a happy place. It's relaxing. Yeah. It's a happy place. All they're doing is they're gardening, they're eating, they're drinking, they're smoking, they're fishing, they're spending their time just in the woods, enjoying the nature of it all.
Yeah.
And enjoying each other's company at night in at the local tavern they have there.
Mm-hmm.
You know, once again, drinking and smoking and just laughing and singing and having a blast.
Yeah, that's what the hobbits do. They call them simple folk in the books. You know, they're just simple, happy folks.
Right. So
then not only that, you've got the dwarves, and then you've got hobbits in Hobbiton. You know, in the Shire and Hobbiton, they also there's more hobbits too, but they don't really touch on them. But the Shire is just one place that contains the hobbits.
Right, and then of course the dwarves were cool. They get the other mountains.
Mm-hmm. You got.
I'm drawing a blank on the name of that stupid place in the mountain now.
Which one? Because there was a few. They took there was Minas Morgul. Minas Morgul was under the one where they found Minas Morgul. I believe was where Gandalf fought the Balrog, and it was like an old dwarf thing where they dug
That's what I was going to say. The first place they go to where they get into by answering the riddle by speaking friend.
Yeah.
In Elvish. And it gets them in there, and they had to fight against the orcs that are there, and then the Balrog and everything.
Right.
Then, of course, later on, when they brought out the Hobbit movies, when they went back and did the prequels of the Hobbit movies, you got the place where Smaug had all the gold.
Yes.
In
the Mines of Moria. The Mines of Moria. Minas Morgul is the tower. Minas Morgul is the tower, I believe, that the Witch King lives in. It's Moria. I'm sorry. Moria is where he fought the Balrog.
Okay.
The Mines of Moria.
Yeah, that's right. That's right, because of what Gimli was saying, they could go there and get help from his cousin.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah. So, I mean, you got all kinds of places. And then, of course, your less desirable place is Mordor, where Sauron himself is supposed to be residing still, along with the orcs and giant spiders and things of that nature. Right. So you got quite a big world drawn out there for you.
Yeah, it's enormous. Yeah. And there's more than that too. Cirithungol, and there's a lot of places in Moria that used to be places of man that when Sauron started coming back to take over again, they started the forces of Sauron, which includes all your evil races, I guess you'd say. They started pushing them out. So Minas Morgul I can't remember the original name for it, but Minas Morgul was actually a shining town of men too, kind of like Gondor, and then they pushed them out because it's like the first one right on the other side of the mountain.
Right.
So
right. Well, I mean, moving on to the next one then.
Yes.
We'll kind of touch on Star Wars for a little bit.
Yes.
Star Wars has always been a favorite of mine. You know, growing up. I
Absolutely.
mean, because when you think of space adventures, the first thing you think of is Star Wars. Because every kid growing up wanted to be a Jedi.
100%.
As in, right behind me here, we have the lightsaber.
The lightsaber.
How
did that?
Do not make me. Well, I start to say, don't make me get my red lightsaber out, but the battery's dead. So
I wish I had me a stormtrooper helmet because I saw a video earlier today that had me dying laughing where the guy walks by him in Disney World.
Jedi.
And he said,
impressive.
he said, if there's only one Jedi left, you are not it.
Emotional, Dad.
That's him. Yeah.
Yeah, I saw that. That's cool.
Yeah.
But you get the it's like everything else. They've created this galaxy. We'll call it not the world of Star Wars, but they get an entire galaxy that's been created.
Yeah.
I mean, and they don't go too deep into it. When they first did the movies back in the 70s and everything, you seen places like the planet of Hoth, the planet of
Naboo, Tatooine.
Well, no, they didn't do Naboo in the first ones. They did.
The first ones, no.
They had Tatooine, they had Hoth, they had Dagobah.
Yeah.
They concentrated on places like that. Coruscant didn't come around till they did the prequel movies where they had Darth Maul brought into the picture and everything.
Okay.
So, but in the books and everything, however, if you were a reader of Star Wars lore in the books, I'm sure you probably get to read about places like you just mentioned Coruscant and Kashyyyk, where the Wookiees come from. I think it's how you pronounce it, Kashyyyk.
Yeah.
You've got all the other planets, Alderaan, where Princess Leia was from, and everything.
Endor, where the now I know that was in the original movies because that was
that was in the Return of the Jedi. You got Endor, where they were at there. So there's plenty of places that they have built onto, not built onto, but built for you, and built a story around for you to make a life out of. I mean, you could be a bounty hunter, you could be a smuggler, you could be a Jedi, you could be in
races to choose from.
Right, you could be in the Galactic Senate.
Yeah,
there you could, like you said, Naboo earlier, which is where Princess Amidala was from, or Queen Amidala. So I mean, so many different places that you could reside that has its own beauty to it. Naboo was a real nice looking planet.
Yeah, Naboo was awesome.
Bright, colorful.
They had humanoids, so that was cool.
Yeah. Tatooine was made into a popular place, but it's just a big giant desert of a planet.
Right.
You get the Ewoks, you get the Sand People, you've got the humans that are there. Yeah, of course, you're not going to be a droid. Obviously, that's
you got Bespin.
No one's going to choose to be a droid.
Right. You got Bespin. Bespin was the Cloud City that
right. That Lando.
Colt 45.
Lando
Calrissian.
But funny tidbit for anybody who is a fan of what's the guy's name that did did Silent Bob and Jay and Silent Bob? Kevin
Smith was
Kevin
the big
Smith.
One, and then
I
know the other one's name.
Watch a movie called
Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back.
Nope. I'm referring to one of the other older movies he did before he did all that. It was Saving Amy or
Chasing Amy.
Chasing Amy? Is that what it is?
Yep.
They have a comic book convention?
Yes.
All right, yes. If you have not seen Chasing Amy, watch the first half hour or so of it just to see the scene of the comic book convention if you're a Star Wars fan. It is great. It is great. But that's beside the point. There's so many things you can be. You can be a part of the Rebel Alliance. You can be a part of the Empire.
Right.
You could be an X-wing an X-wing fighter pilot. You know.
This is something that my brother brought up to me when I was talking to him about this. So I feel like too, just to answer his question, if you're watching this, Bo, Disney did not acquire the rights to Star Trek until after 2000, right? Until sometime in the
Star Trek or Star Wars?
Star Wars. Did I say Star Trek?
You said Star Trek.
Here we go again. There's one apiece for us there.
So, if we're keeping score, yes.
Yeah. So there's they didn't acquire Star Wars. Business, though. Yeah. Well, Disney owns everything now, so they acquired all of it. So, but they didn't have Star Wars until after 2000, right? Until the new millennium.
Right.
Okay, cool. So all of your old canon is canon. All what they call legends now, and all of the other side books, and all of the huge expansiveness that other people that Lucas has allowed other people to expand upon. You're cool with bringing that into your universe too, because this is pre-Disney.
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 But they're all still the Star Wars universe, regardless.
They are still absolutely. So pre-Disney means that all Disney's canon too. It just means that every piece of Star Wars is canon.
Right.
So where Disney said anything other than the movies and what we put out is not canon anymore.
Right.
So.
But I mean, as far as we're concerned, the Star Wars universe is the Star Wars universe. It's large,
right. We don't care what Disney says.
A lot of places where they've been brought into as new, or back from when or whatever. It doesn't matter.
Right. So when you think about this question as what universe you want to live in, you can keep that one in mind. It's all of it.
Right. It's all of it. Star Trek, leading into that. Now, Gene Roddenberry had a vision of that back in the 60s it started, and carried on through.
Captain James T. Kirk.
And for some reason, the man always spoke like this.
And paused between every word.
Stardate, February 14th now. Valentine's Day. Still, I have nobody.
Still, I have no one.
Go figure.
It's a holiday created by Macy's anyway.
That's true. So that anyway, Star Trek expanded over the years, just like Star Wars did. It expanded greatly. I mean, you had so many things that Gene Roddenberry first came out with and put out there. You had the original thing. You had the Starfleet. You had them with the Vulcans, the Romulans, the Ferengi, oh gosh, who are some more of the original races?
Who did you do? Vulcan,
Romulan,
Ferengi,
Klingons. The Klingons.
Yeah, Klingons, the Q.
The Q and the Borg came later.
Oh, yes. Okay, well, then how about Tribbles? The Tribbles.
The Tribbles. Little ugly looking things.
All right.
And what about the fact that Captain Kirk would sleep with anything that
anything.
Moved?
Anything.
But that's got nothing to do with the world he lived in, though.
My kind of guy.
When Star Trek: The Next Generation came out, it expanded our horizons of the universe of Star Trek greatly by bringing in, like he said, the Q. The Borg were brought in. They've been traveling space and time for what? No telling how long. And
on top of millennia.
Assimilating everybody to be just like them and think is the one collective.
Right.
The Q are even older than them, I believe.
Yeah, the Q are like what we would consider omnipotent. We would consider the Q godly type creatures.
Right.
Or entities.
And there's so many different things you could do within the world of Star Trek as well. I mean, maybe you just pick one of the planets that they have visited that they have, found trouble at some places, and some places not so much trouble, but where trouble had followed them too or something. And you just say, I like the way this looks. I want to be a part of this life they're conducting there. I want to stay here. Like in The Next Generation, they had that one episode where all of them are practically half naked running around.
Right.
And running, they're just running for fun because it's fun to them, and they're playing sports of some sort, and they're outside in the nice weather. They just that's all they want to do. It's run and play. It seems like, and there was more than that, but I mean, we're a family show.
Yeah,
we won't go deep in like some others.
Something else you get on Star Trek is the holodeck.
The holodeck.
The holodeck was awesome.
I was going to bring that up because I was going to say you could be a person who is on one of the ships exploring the galaxy, going where no man has gone before.
That's right.
The holodeck can take you back home. I mean, to no matter what time frame you want to go to. If you're human and you're on the ship, like say Captain Jean-Luc Picard, not the original captain, who could also be the man who talks funny and imposes that people like to impersonate.
Oh, you talking about walking?
Yeah, not the Christopher Walken, but
The original
Captain Kirk.
Captain James T. Kirk. Yeah,
Jean-Luc Picard would be out there, and he would be in the holodeck and recreating like old gangster scenes.
that's what I was going to say. Didn't he have he? It seems like I can remember vividly him doing a couple of holodeck things where he was kind of a Sherlock Holmes too. He was doing like
Yeah,
investigating crimes and
places from literature that he would not have gotten to see, but he could relive through the holodeck or something through a
yeah.
program. Other people would program in places from their home planet that they felt comfortable in.
Mm-hmm.
That was their home away from home. They would do that.
They also used it for training. So if you wanted to become like a martial arts or a sharpshooter with your phaser pistol,
Treat it like the X-Men Danger Room or something, you know.
Right,
To
yeah.
set things up to learn from, to train in, to relax in, no matter what the case may be. And then if you're on something like the Enterprise and you're traveling around in space and you're finding new places and you're exploring and bringing new people to the Federation, you're on that ship 24/7. Basically, you know, they've got their holodeck, like you said, they've got their living quarters. They have
mm-hmm.
they
And the replicators. You could have any kind of food anytime you wanted for free. Nothing costed money.
Right. You go to the replicator, you say, you know, I want a Big Mac and a large fry. And we ain't having no Buford T. Justice coming out saying you can't have no fries. I ain't got time for that.
We need a Diablo sandwich and a dock of pepper and make it fast.
Just say what you want, and there it is. That's it. So, anyway.
Yeah.
Sounds like a fun place to be for me.
No doubt.
But,
or you could be the wasn't Dax in Deep Space Nine? Wasn't she like a symbiote? Not like Venom, but like it was like something in the back of. She was like some kind of little grub worm or something, symbiote inside the thing. Would it have?
I didn't watch a lot of Deep Space Nine. I didn't watch a lot of Voyager. I didn't watch a lot of Enterprise when it came out with Scott Bakula. Right. I stopped watching after I got deep into the Next Generation when they started making movies and stuff. I kind of got out of it then.
Right.
I watched the movies, but I didn't go into the other TV shows.
Some of the other ones. I watched a fair amount of Deep Space Nine. I watched all of the Next Generation is my favorite by far. But so I've seen a fair amount of the original. Seen tons and tons of reruns of doggone Next Gen. And in Deep Space Nine, I watched a fair bit, but then Enterprise and Voyager, I didn't watch a whole lot. Enterprise, I don't think I watched at all. With Scott Bakula?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think I watched it at all.
Well, let's just kind of touch on a couple of things here. Now, we've heard all four worlds. Okay.
Yes.
We've heard all four universes and what we've got to look forward to. I mean, you've got the chance to be a great warrior. You've got a chance to be a Jedi Knight. You've got a chance to be a powerful wizard. You've got a chance to be somebody who's a part of a large federation that helps people and explores worlds beyond worlds. And
or just, not. You could be a Romulan if you want to.
Oh, you could be. I mean, you could be anything you wanted in any race you wanted.
That's right.
You know, Romulan, Ferengi, a Klingon, Vulcan, whatever you want to be. I mean, it doesn't matter. Any of those things you want to be, you can be.
Right.
So, hearing that, starting with Harry Potter, what would you be in the world of Harry Potter?
In the world of Harry Potter.
Now, let's be clear. I'm not talking about your end-all, be-all pick of what you want to be of all the four. But in Harry Potter, where do you think you see yourself at? Where would you place yourself at in there?
I would probably be an alumni of Hogwarts for sure, and I would probably be Ravenclaw. Ravenclaw gets overlooked as a house a good bit, so I'd be kind of a neutral, chaotic type of wizard from Ravenclaw, and I don't want to elaborate too much on these answers because one of them is going to be my ultimate pick. So
right, and of course Ravenclaw, that's where most of the brainy students were.
Yeah, Ravenclaw. Me and my brother, we got to talking about it, and we said Ravenclaw is basically Slytherin without the evil intent.
Yeah. All right, so moving from there, well, actually, let's.
How about you?
Put mine in there. I when it comes to Harry Potter, I like the heroics of the movie, so I I would definitely put myself in the Gryffindor thing. And besides, when I say I would put myself there, there's all these little cheesy things on your, Facebook you get. What would you be if you were Harry Potter? What would you be if you were in Star Wars or whatever?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
mine always came up putting me in Gryffindor based on how I answered the questions.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's because I have the heroic feel to the movies. I like that feel to it and everything.
Right.
So they're always also curious and kind of getting themselves into trouble when they shouldn't, because curiosity kills the cat.
Right. Right.
And I can definitely see me getting into that area of it, being an alumni of Gryffindor, and moving on from school. Probably would see myself wanting to be just like you hear the kids talking about being an Auror in the Ministry of Magic,
Yeah. Okay.
going out to stop dark wizards or
Yeah.
just the wizarding crime in general. We'll say
Absolutely. Heck
Well,
yeah.
call me the wizard police.
I'm the wizard Popo, baby. All right,
That's
well,
it.
then let me ask you. You go first on this one. What would you do for Star Trek?
The whole exploration thing intrigues me. So going places that nobody else sees and knows about, and you're learning about new places and planets you come upon, and setting foot on them for the first time before anybody else back from your area does. Meeting new people, learning their new ways and everything, and just being out in space. I mean, this sounds cool to say I'm in space.
Right.
And
Yeah.
you can do, like you said, you've got the holodeck to relax somewhere different. You've got the way of getting what you want to eat or drink at any time. You get your living quarters when you're not doing your duties on the ship or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I could see myself doing that, I think, for sure.
Heck yeah.
And then, of course, being that I am only human, I would be, just a human in the Starfleet.
So you'd be like Geordie LaForge.
Without the cool glasses.
I thought the glasses were dope.
Yeah, I wouldn't have them cool glasses at all. I mean, but
right,
because I could see.
it's like a fee.
Geordie couldn't see.
No, he couldn't see without his little visor, without his air filter.
That's right. How about you? What would you touch on Star Trek?
I believe probably be about kind of the same. I want my own ship though. You know what I mean? I'd want to be a captain.
I also said you would be a captain, or
yeah. I'd want to be a captain of a galaxy class spaceship for sure, and I'd probably be human because it just if I was a Vulcan, all the logic stuff, you know what I mean, which Spock has proven, that you can still have emotions, but he's only half Vulcan anyway, though. So
right,
maybe I'd be half Vulcan because then I get the long life and the strength, and the one cell living through the radiation and all. Yeah, I'd be half Vulcan, Starfleet command captain. That's what I'd do.
No, that sounds good.
I like that.
Sounds good. That's okay. So we'll go ahead and we'll bring up a little bit of Star Wars here. Star Wars, George Lucas's creation.
Yeah, Star Wars. I'm going with Star Wars is so deep that there are so many different kinds of force sensitive entities in that. So yes. I really believe that I would be kind of like Ahsoka Tano and be kind of like a gray Jedi, which is what she ends up becoming, which is the true balance between the dark and the light. So she's not answering to anybody really. She don't really do what the Jedi Council says because let's face it, they are kind of sideways sometimes. So I feel like I'd be a great Jedi.
When you look back on Ahsoka Tano, she was also removed from the Jedi Academy and she never returned.
Right, because they basically didn't believe her and blamed her for murder.
Right.
But yeah, I'd be a great Jedi like Ahsoka. Go do my own thing, but still be a total BA.
Yeah. Yeah. I say all the time that I want to be a Jedi because all boys growing up watching Star Wars want a lightsaber. They want to be a Jedi. But I was talking to you earlier. We were talking about one of the newer shows, The Mandalorian, and how the Mando has the dark saber,
right?
And how cool it would be to be a bounty hunter that's force sensitive, that knows the ways of the force and has a lightsaber, right? Even if it's not the dark saber, you had a different lightsaber. You're really a Jedi, and you you're
A Mando too.
man. No, I would say Amanda because it's not just Mandalorians that were the bounty hunters. You had bounty
No,
hunters
yeah,
of all
not at
different
all.
kinds.
Yeah.
So I mean, but to be a bounty hunter with all the gadgets and to be a Jedi and have the lightsaber and command the Force as well. Seems like if you were able to combine the two, it would be great. Now, since they never really combined the two in the movies or books or anything, I would say I would want to be a Jedi. I would want to learn the ways of the Jedi because nothing else really stands out to me that I would like except for maybe, um, you know, doing a bounty hunter or a smuggler. I hate to say smuggler makes me a bad guy,
Not
Makes
necessarily.
me
That's what
makes me a
Hans was.
makes me a scruffy looking nerf
Hans was
herder.
not really because Hans was a Hans and Chewie both were doggone smugglers. So
But they weren't necessarily honest.
no, they weren't honest. But
So I
you
mean,
know,
if you're a Jedi, you're pure and you're wholesome and you're honest about your ways
well,
and
you're
you're
supposed to be. But
supposed to be. Unless you're some Jedi who think you're better than the rest and you hide your wife from everybody and you end up force choking her to death before she kicks your two
right,
kids out and then dies.
yeah, it
And
could happen that way too.
not that would happen to anybody and make them almost get killed by their teacher and cut in half and burned up to a crisp and saved and
There
made
are a
into
few
a
Jedi that
robot.
have gone back and forth though.
Yes.
So
Yes.
I mean,
yes.
it's viable. It's possible. Anything.
It is.
That's the nice thing about all four of these realms. Pretty much anything's
Look,
possible in any of them.
I will say this: if I can be a combination Jedi bounty hunter, I'm on it.
Heck yeah. So that takes us to what? That takes us to Lord of the Rings.
That takes us to see. We did Potter first.
Yeah. Then Star
We did
Trek.
Star Trek, Star
We did
Wars.
Star
That's
Wars,
it. Yep.
that's Lord of the Rings. So
There
who
we
would
are.
you be in Lord of the Rings?
I had thought about this before. As I mentioned earlier, I was a little torn with it because the hobbits just have fun and they eat and they drink and everything. I know, but the thing is, if I'm comparing myself, my true self, to something from that world, then other than the fact that I got a gut on me, I'm not a little fat hobbit. I mean, they drink, they drink, they smoke, they they eat a whole lot. They just enjoy time out. They go fishing. They enjoy nature and stuff.
Right.
I have not been fishing since I was 12 years old, probably. My dad wasn't big on fishing growing up, so he was more of a sports-minded guy. So I was always big in sports. So I can't say that I fit that role. So I've decided that I'm going to go with the way of the elves.
Okay.
If it was Lord of the Rings, I would go the way of the elves.
Respite.
I like Legolas. I like his character. I like the fact that they're great with the bow and apparently never run out of arrows.
No.
It seems they just have a bottomless quiver.
Yep.
Or something.
Yes, that's part of the elven magic.
It's got to be because he never runs out. And I mean, there's other things about them. They live for a good long time. They get to see ages pass by.
Yeah.
It just looks like a cool life. The landscape and stuff is great as well too. So, and then you got magical sounds that you have there. They have magical sounds that go.
They have magical sounds. How about that?
They go. It's awesome.
Sometimes.
It's
Yeah.
awesome. What would you do?
Doorbells.
Would you be a maker of sounds?
I would be a maker of sounds for sure. In Lord of the Rings, oh man, I believe in Lord of the Rings. I'm gonna have to go with probably an elf as well, or some kind of hybrid, because you know what I mean. They get the magic. They get the. I mean, they're the coolest. They're the best looking. They get the magic. They get the long life. They get the awesome places to live. You know, so I'm on board with you with the elves. To me, that seems like the best gig in Middle Earth.
We just completely kicked man to the curb, and we said,
we'll
team up with you. We'll team up with you. We'll fight the orcs with you. But we don't want to be you.
Even Strider, one of the main Aragorn. Even Aragorn wasn't a man. He was a damn Dunedain, which was from the north and had extremely long life. So I mean. When it comes to Lord of the Rings, it's not, man really ain't that. It's probably not the best choice. They
No,
get kicked around a pretty good bit.
they die at a young age in battle because they can't fight.
Yeah, they do. Big
They
time.
can't fight worth a hoot.
Mm-mm. Mm-mm. Even the little dwarves would be on them.
That's right. Even the little dwarves. I mean, they just pop up, spring up out of the ground.
Spring up out of the ground.
Even the dwarf women spring up
Yeah.
out of the ground with beards, full beards and everything.
I was about to say it's the beards. So,
Okay. Anyway,
we go into the main question now.
we have the main question. We are 45 minutes deep in this podcast. We have discussed the worlds. We have talked about the possibilities of each one of what they have. After thinking about it yourself before the show and everything, which of the 4 worlds are you going to pick, and why are you choosing that world?
So, anyone who knows me is going to be kind of surprised by this because you're going to immediately think that I'm going with Lord of the Rings, which was my initial. That was my initial, and then it went back to Star Wars. Man, that Jedi thing's pretty hot, but I settled on Harry Potter, and the reason why I settled on Harry Potter is because
Harry Potter?
Harry Potter. The reason I settled on Harry Potter is because I'm about that long life, right? So I saw a werewolf in Harry Potter. So if there's werewolves, there's got to be vampires, right? So I figure I'm gonna be a wizard who gets myself bit by a vampire. I'm a vampiric wizard, man.
Wasn't there something in one of the, I don't know if it was in one of the movies or one of the books that was brought up about vampires because werewolves were real?
Yeah, I don't remember, but since Lupin was a full-on werewolf, I know if there's werewolves, there's got to be vampires, and there's so much other crazy. They had unicorns.
I have a question. I understand you are from South Carolina, sir.
Okay.
Did you just say lupine?
Lupine.
Lupine.
Lupine, lupus, whatever the hell.
No. Lupus is something that some people
That's what I thought.
have.
That's where you get all crooked up, right?
I don't know. I know some people that have it, but I don't know what it does. Lupine is like some stupid tree, probably. I don't know.
No,
pine.
Lupin, Professor
Lupin. However,
oh, was it Lupin? Okay.
Professor Lupin was a werewolf.
Okay.
If I had a wand,
I
read the books too much, probably. Yeah. If I had a wand right now, I would Avada you where you sit.
That should be Lupin. That's okay. I would reflect on you. Just
man.
Yeah, Lupin. It's Lupin.
Lupin.
That don't make no sense.
I think you're loopy.
In that maybe. Yeah, I'm guilty as charged. But in the English language, Lupin don't make no sense. Lupine makes more sense.
This isn't the English language. This is the Harry Potter language.
Canine. You don't call them Canans.
This is Is there an E at the end of his name? I thought it was just Lupin.
What's that matter?
Why are we arguing this?
I don't know. Because it's fun.
Is it passing time? Is it my turn yet? Is it my turn yet?
Yeah, so I'm going Harry Potter because I can reach immortality and have awesome magical powers and eat those little frogs that really like. I want the chocolate frog that jumps.
If you're a vampire wizard, does that mean that the little creature you create to get rid of those things is like a bat?
It might be.
When you disapparate, do you turn into a bat and fly off or something?
That or mist, either one. So I can do mist too.
I see. Okay.
Yeah. I'm definitely biting Hermione, just so you know.
Just so you older Hermione, hopefully, because
absolutely.
The younger one.
Grown Hermione.
That don't sound cool.
After she married Ron, dude.
Yeah, it doesn't sound.
I'm biting Hermione.
This reminds me of a conversation I listened to the other day. I'll tell you after the show. But it's hilarious. Myself, I'm like you. Anybody who knows me is probably thinking right off the bat, well, here comes the dork in his Harry Potter world. Nope, I am not taking Harry Potter. So my fallback, I told you I grew up on Star Wars. I always loved Star Wars.
Right.
And once again, I'm not taking Star Wars. That's where people are going to be like, no way.
Yeah,
no way. Interesting. That narrows it down to he's either going to be Lord of the Rings or he's going to be Star Trek. And I'm going to surprise a lot of people, especially Mr. Mike Currents, if he watches this show, because we've argued till we're both blue in the face. What was better, Star Wars or Star Trek? And he's a Trekkie, and I'm not. But if I'm going to pick one of these 4 worlds to live in, I just want something that I think I'm going to be comfortable in. I feel comfortable in the thought of exploration and then having the things that I want around me at my command or disposal, like the holodeck and stuff like that.
Right.
So I'm going Star Trek for me.
Oh, okay.
I'm going to turn Trekkie at one point, I guess. And
Mike's going to be jumping up and down.
He is.
That's why it's better. You chose it. It's better.
I'm not going to tell him at all. If he watches this on his own and finds out about it,
right,
then he'll see for himself. But I'm not going to tell him.
I love it. Respect on that. I like that. That's a good one.
That's where I'm going to go with it. So any of you out there, life. I know. Yeah. I mean, there's so many possibilities with everything out there. I mean, you can go long life in Lord of the Rings with the elves.
You could,
or as a wizard, being a wizard like Gandalf or Saruman.
Yeah.
So I mean, if you want to do that, that's fine too. But for any of you out there that I posed the question to you at the beginning of the show: which would you pick? Which would you choose? Leave us some comments down at the bottom here and tell us in the comments what world you would pick and why. I'm interested in hearing people's explanations on what they would do. What they would
100%. That'd be so entertaining for us to be able to see that and everything.
And I just want to know how long it takes in the comments before the first person comes up and says they choose Star Trek because they want to be a Klingon around Uranus. I want to see how long it takes somebody to do that. I'm sure it's probably going to happen. It's going to happen somewhere. It's going to happen somewhere.
The nice thing about that is we're a family show, and that is, I mean,
borderline.
That is borderline.
Family.
But they won't get it. Like if any kids do listen to it, it's going to be years. It's going to be like listening to Conway Twitty music, being like, "Oh, he's nasty."
Like Eddie Murphy's grandmother when she finds him in the bathroom washing himself off the sink, going, "You nasty, baby, baby, you nasty."
Yeah.
Don't be washing off in the sink.
Yeah.
Anyway, but let us know in the comments what it is that you would pick, what you want to be, and once again why. So, Travis, we are 52 minutes in. It's not going to kill us if we end a little bit early today, but we're gonna take a couple of minutes here and let you listen to our setup we got for our social media. So, if you will, let's go ahead and take a listen to that for us, and be right back. Social media is a very important thing these days. It's the way that you keep up with us and the way that we hear from you. So if you would, take a moment and follow us. We're located at TikTok, Facebook, and Instagram at our name, Retro Life for You. That's RETROLIFE, the number 4YOU. You can also reach us via email at retrolifeforyou@gmail.com. And don't forget to subscribe and follow and share us with your friends. And hey, while you're at it, do us a huge favor and leave us a great 5-star review and a rating. It helps in ranking the podcast and most importantly lets us know how we're doing for you. Make sure that you do leave us some comments down at the bottom. Go to wherever you download your podcast, whether it be Spotify, Google, Apple iTunes, wherever you like to get its audio at. Subscribe to us, like us, share us with your friends and family. Share us here on YouTube with your friends and family, and like us here as well. Make sure you leave us some referrals, not referrals, Travis. What's the word I'm looking for here? Reviews. Leave us a nice 5-star review. I'll even settle for a 4-star review. I'm not
hit that bell.
Yeah, hit that bell right there for notifications to catch us here later on. And I'm sure everybody's hearing this now. My dog is in the background wanting to get out in the worst way. I knew this would happen before it was over with. That being said, though, we're going to sign off. We're going to go and sign off for the day. And thanks, guys, for watching this. And Travis,
with my left hand, don't give me a
we will see you, Travis, too.
Yes.
We'll see you on the next episode. So, everybody, thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time.
Hasta la vista, baby.
Hasta la vista. Over and out.